Hello everyone. In this video we are going to be looking at your exercises from during the week and going to be solving them together. So let's get started immediately. In this exercise, in this worksheet, that's just information we're going to come back to. So it was basically some graphs and a pie chart. So a bar chart, a pie chart, and another pie chart. So we're going to have some questions. The first one is why the bar chart was preferred to showcase the data as opposed to the pie chart. And your answer might be that it shows all the data in one chart, whereas the pie chart needs to have multiple charts. So that could just be it, that you only need one chart to show all the data. You only need one chart to show all the data. Next up, what are our conclusions, basically, about the eating habits of this class? Well, what we can tell, basically, let's look at this. What I would say looking at this chart is that the students have a pretty balanced diet, meaning that it doesn't seem like there are very few students who never eat a specific kind of food, but there are also very few students who always eat a specific kind of food. Now, it does seem like they don't like soup that much, and they do like meat quite a lot, because they seem to eat meat pretty often, and they seem to not eat soup that often. But there is no food that, out of the ones listed at least, that they seem to not eat at all. So we could say the students don't like soup that much. The students like meat, and also their diet is relatively balanced. So now these are not the only results you could take from this. There are many more results that you could take. Those are just the ones that I chose to look at. Okay, next up. We want to look at the pie chart that is focused on the meats, and then the other one about the soups. And then we want to compare and see what we get, basically. So this is the pie chart for the soups, and this is the pie chart for the meats. So here, what you might notice is, let's say that we call these two negative, these two negative, so that they never eat meat, and that they very rarely eat meat, while these two are positive, they do. And here the same thing goes. They very rarely eat soup, or they always eat soup. What you can see basically is that the negative answer, that no, I do not eat soup, or no, I do not eat meat, is much bigger in the soup. So the red here, for example, plus the blue is very small, but the blue with the red together are very big. whereas the negative answers in the meets are quite small compared to at least the positive answers, and especially if you add in the neutrals of sometimes. We just eat it sometimes. So that would be my assessment. That is that many more students seem to avoid soups. Now, it asks here if we can use one of the charts to guess the number of the students in the class. And the answer is yes. But which chart? And should we use the pie chart or should we use the uh, bar chart? Pie chart is here, and here we have another one, and here's the bar chart. Where I can't use the pie chart because the pie chart doesn't have any numbers at all. So no, I need to use the bar chart. And how am I going to guess? Because this is a guess, because the bars aren't at exact numbers. So I'm going to have to guess. How am I going to guess uh, how many the students are? I'm going to do that by looking at one specific food. Let's say soups, for example. And I'm going to add up all the answers that were received for the soups. So the soups are the purple. So this one means that about, let's say, this must be 3, maybe 2. So let's just say 2. 2 kids answered that they never eat soup. Here it goes all the way up to, say, it's more than halfway past 30 to 40. So let's call this 36. Let's say this is 36. Here, so 36 students answered that they sometimes, no, not sometimes, they rarely eat soup. And here, about 8 of them answered that they sometimes eat soup. Here, about 12 answered that they eat soup often. And here, about, let's say, 1 answered that they always eat soup. So if we add all of these numbers together, we will get the total number of students in the class. So that would be 8 and 12 makes 20, plus 1 makes 21, plus 2 makes 23, plus 36 makes 59. So yeah, a lot of students in this class, but my guess would be that there are 59 students in the class using the bar chart. So that's the first exercise, the chart exercise. Let's move on to the next one, where we have to find averages. Okay, so the first part of this worksheet was a guide, basically theory. So here, let's go into actually solving the exercise. So we can see how many points a basketball team scored over a certain amount of games, over 5 games. Okay, so 85, 80, 75, 95, and 100. And I want to show those points on a bar chart. Now our greatest value is going to be 100, so I'm going to need 100 to be here on the top. And if 0 is here, let's see, how many lines do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's an odd number. Okay, well, we don't need it to be up here. We don't have to utilize the entirety of the chart. If it's easier for us, we can place it here on the 5th line, where it's much easier to consider dividing 100 into 5 pieces than it is to divide it into 7 pieces. So we can put 100 right there, which means that this is going to be 20, this is going to be 40, this is going to be 60, this is going to be 80, and I put an extra 0 here. So we have 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So in between each of these lines is 20 points. So here's 20 points, and here's another 20 points, and another 20 points, and another 20 points, and another 20 points. Here we finally reach 100. We don't have any more than 100. Here would be 120, and here would be 140, but there's no point in putting those since I don't have values more than 100. And I want to put the bars in place. So in the first match, they scored 85 points. So that's going to go, and this is a rough estimate. It's not exact. You could take your ruler, but it's really not necessary right now. You don't really have to. It would be about here. Then in game 2, they scored 80 points, so that's going to be exactly on line 80. And third game, that's 75. Actually, yeah, let's make this a little bit higher. It should be about a quarter of the way to 100. So let's say there. And this one should be up to 80. And the third game reached 75 points. So that's going to be almost to 80, about a quarter missing. Then we have 95, so almost at 100. Again, about a quarter of the way missing. And then the last game is exactly 100, so it's going to reach the 100 line. And there we go, that's our chart. Next up, it's asking how many points were scored on average. So here we need to add up all those points and find the average. So 80, actually no, let's write it like this. 85 plus 80 plus 75 plus 95 plus 100 over, well, 5 games, so it's 5. This time it actually is 5. And we are dividing, so like so. Okay, and this is equal to what? I'm going, no, that's not, that shouldn't be aligned. There we go. So I'm going to copy this, move it over. And then I'm going to say 85 plus 80 is making 165. Plus 75 would give me 240. Plus 95 would give me, oh, I just blacked out there for a second. 335 plus 100 give me 435. And if I divide 435 by 5, I would get what? 87. I would get 87. So they scored 87 points on average. And there you go. That's the second exercise. Let's move on to the third exercise. Oh, okay. So here we have some results from tests. Okay. So we have 2 lessons with a 10, 3 lessons with a 9, 1 lesson with an 8, 3 lessons with a 7, and 2 lessons with a 6. And we want to find the average points. So that's 2 lessons with a 10, 3 lessons with a 9, so that's 3 nines, 1 8, 3 sevens, and 2 sixes. So that's how many lessons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So all of this divided by 11. Okay, so copy this, move it over here, and let's get started. 10 and 10 makes 20, plus 9 makes 29, plus 9 makes 38, plus 9 makes 47, plus 8 makes 55, plus 7 makes 62, plus 7 makes 69, plus 7 makes 76, plus 6 makes 82, plus 6 makes 88. So 88 over 11, which thankfully 88 is divisible by 11, and it makes 8. Next up, here we have some temperatures, the temperatures of a week. We want to place them on the bar chart, and then we want to find the average. So let's place them on the bar chart. So the top temperature is how much? 13 and a half. So let's say 14. And how many lines do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's put 20 up here. I'm not done fixing the numbers, so don't write 20 on each line. Okay, so the top is going to be 20 and the bottom is going to be 0. And I have 10 lines, so that means that each line is 2. So this is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Did I get it wrong? I got it wrong. 12, 14, 16, 18. Did I count the lines wrong? Doesn't matter. We have 14 here, so we have 14 pretty high up. So we want to place the bars so that we can represent each of these temperatures. So Monday was 9.5. So 9 is about halfway between 10 and 8. Yeah, halfway exactly. And a half means it's going to be somewhere around here. So let's put the temperature right there. 10.5 means it's going to be just a little bit above the 10 line. 11 means it's going to be halfway between 12 and 10. So right there. Thursday is 11.5, so that is going to be about there. Right there. 12.5 is going to be a little bit above the 12 line. Just a little bit. 13.5 is going to be almost at the 14 line. And then 12 is going to be right here. Right on the 12 line. So that's how it's represented on the chart. And then we want to add them all up to find the average. So 9.5 and 10.5 and 11 and 11.5 and 12.5 and 13.5, 12. And all of this divided by 7 because there's 7 days. Also, let's underline all of this because it's a fraction. So, copy it, move it over. 9.5 and 10.5 would give me 20. And 11 would give me 31. And 11.5 would give me 42.5. And 12.5 would give me 55. And 13.5 would give me 68.5. And 12 would give me 80.5. So I need to do 80.5 divided by 7. How much is 80.5 divided by 7? That is 1 and another 1.5. 11.5. You could have done this division vertically if you needed to. Okay? And that's the third exercise. Let's move on to the fourth exercise. Let's go. Now, we have a basketball team here. 12 players. 2 of them are 2.14 meters. 3 of them are 2.09 meters. 2 of them are 2.06 meters. 3 of them are 2.03 meters. And 2 of them are 1.98 meters. And the problem wants us to find the average height of the team. So now I could write 2.14 plus 2.14. But there is a simpler way to write this, and that's going to come in handy further down the line. That is writing this instead as 2 times 2.14 plus, see here, since there are 3 players who are 2.09 meters tall, I would have had to have written 2.09 plus 2.09 plus 2.09, or I just write 3 times 2.09 plus 2 times 2.06 plus 3 times 2.03 plus 2 times 1.98. And all of this divided by 12 because there are 12 players. Move this over. Okay, so let's do the multiplications first. 2 times 2.14 is going to give me 4.28 plus 3 times 2.09 is going to give me 6.27, and 2 times 2.06 is going to give me 4.12. 3 times 2.03 is going to give me 6.09. And 2 times 1.98 is going to give me 3.96. Now let's add all of these up. I'm not going to rewrite it again because I don't have any room, but you can see what I'm doing. If you need to look more closely, just pause the video to see how I did each of the multiplications first. So here we want to do 4.28 plus 6.27. This would give me 10.55. 4.12. You can do these vertically if you need to. 10.55 plus 4.12 would give me 14.67. 14.67 plus 6.09 would give me 20.76. 20.76 plus 3.96. Oh, that would give me 24.72. Yeah, 24.72. All of this divided by 12. And the division by 12 is going to give me 2.06. So the average height of the team is 2 meters and 6 centimeters. Or 2.06. If I want to be absolutely 100% correct, I'm going to go here where it says answer. I'm going to write the average height. The average height of the team is 2.06 meters. And that is 100% absolutely right. Next up, we have this, and we want to make the bar chart and then find the average amount of pies sold per day. So our grand total is, well, our maximum, is 90. But it has no lines here. Okay, so if you want, you could measure this, separate it into 10 equal pieces, and have 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, so on. Or you could write it, since it doesn't have any lines, you can just say, well, since it's 90, I'm just going to say that, okay, it's going to be about here, and 70 is going to be, oh, actually, no, this is on Wednesday. Sorry, nearly made a mistake there. And on Monday, I had 70, which is going to be quite a bit lower. Somewhere here. 60 is only going to be a little lower than that. So let's say here. 50 is going to be about halfway up. So we could say here. Yep. And 30 is going to be pretty low. It's going to be all the way down here. Now, to find the average, I would do 70 plus 60 plus 90 plus 50 plus 30 and divide all of that by 5 because it shows us 5 days. And I would write that like this, but we can also do this in our mind really quick by saying 7 plus 6 makes 13, plus 9 makes 22, plus 5 makes 27, plus 3 makes 30, so the total is 300 pies in 7 days. So I'd have to do 300 divided by 5, which gives me 60. So average pies sold per day, 60. Wait, no, sorry. It should have been written as average of 60 pies per day. Average of 60 pies per day. Okay, so next. We have this museum, and in October it was visited by 250 students. In November it was 300 students. In December 400. February it was 350. How many students on average per month? And then also do the chart. Let's do the chart first. So our maximum value is 400. So we want this to be close to the top. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Now we could do that, but then we would really complicate things. We could just put 400 here, 300 here, 200 here, and 100 here to make things really simple. Now imagine we had put 400 up here, and we would have had to do 400 divided by 5 and put each, how much is that? 125. So it would have been 125 here and 250 here and 370. No, wait, did I get that wrong? No, 400 divided by 5 would actually give me 75. So this would be 75. This would be 150. This would be 225. This would be, oh, did I get that wrong again? Wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. 400 divided by 5 is actually 80. I'm sorry. I've just been making a lot of videos. So what I would have had, actually, is 80 here on this line. I'm just putting on the other side so as not to erase them. Here I would have had 160. Here I would have had 240. Here I would have had 320. Up here I would have had 400. So this would have been a lot more difficult. You can see I made like 3 mistakes there. So instead of that, I'm just going to put 100, 200, 300, 400. I'm going to leave the top line empty. Doesn't matter. We don't have to use the whole thing if we don't want to. So October was 250, so it's going to be halfway up here, halfway between 200 and 300. So here we have November with 300 students, so all the way up to the 300 line. In December we had 400 students, so that's all the way up to the 400 line. And then in February it was 350. Wait, where's January? Okay, so we have no January. So 350. Well, apparently it was closed in January. So now let's find the average. That would be 250 plus 300 plus 400 plus 350. And we're going to divide all of this by 4. Since January doesn't count, apparently. Must have been closed. So 250 plus 300 is going to give me 550. Plus 400 is going to give me 950. Plus 350 is going to give me 1,300. This divided by 4 gives me what? Gives me 3, 5. All right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So 325 is my final answer. That was, I want to be completely correct, the average number. The average number of students per month was 325. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so that's all of your homework. So have a good weekend, you guys, and I'll see you again on Monday. Bye.